This memory has been crawling back into my head a lot lately. Maybe it's because my youngest son, Luke, just left for college. The house feels quieter than it ever has before. Too quiet. It's funny, isn't it? When the kids are young, you dream about peace and quiet. But when it finally comes, it's not the comfort you thought it would be. Instead, it feels hollow, empty. And maybe that emptiness is why something else came flooding back to me. A memory I had locked away for years. Something I told myself was just one of those odd childhood things kids go through. But deep down, I know better. Luke was only 8 years old when this happened. And even now, I can't fully make sense of it. I've always been handy. I'm a carpenter by trade, so building things with my own two hands has always been part of me. Back then, when the kids were small, I had energy. Projects kept me alive. And my favorite project, the one I was most proud of, was the treehouse I built for Luke in our backyard. It wasn't just a nailed-together platform. I poured my heart into that thing. It had proper walls, a roof, windows, and a solid wooden ladder instead of a rope or rickety branches. I wanted it to feel like an extension of our home, something magical yet safe. Somewhere Luke could make memories. Somewhere he could feel free. Christy, my wife, wasn't thrilled at first. She worried it was too high off the ground, too dangerous. But Luke was already the kind of kid who climbed everything. Trees, fences, shelves, anything he could. I figured it would be safer if I gave him something secure instead of him scaling weak branches that could snap at any second. Eventually, Christy gave in. Luke loved it. He adored that treehouse. And from our bedroom window upstairs, I could see it clearly. That was intentional. I positioned it so I'd always have a view of the ladder. I couldn't see inside, but I could keep watch. Our house sat at the end of a dead-end street, bordered by thick woods that seemed endless. It was private, peaceful, exactly what Christy and I had wanted when we first moved in. But the woods hold secrets, and I should have known that peace never lasts forever. For the longest time, everything was normal. Luke played in the treehouse just like any kid would. He'd bring up toys, books, or sometimes just sit up there and watch the world. But then came Jake. Luke started talking about an imaginary friend. He said his name was Jake. Now, imaginary friends aren't unusual, but Luke wasn't the kind of kid who had ever done that before. He was 8 years old. A little old, I thought, for that phase. Christy brushed it off as cute, harmless, but something about it felt wrong to me. When I asked Luke about him, he got strange. He told me Jake was shy, that Jake didn't like being talked about. That alone gave me chills. I asked him why he only played in the treehouse lately. Why not bring Jake inside? Luke's answer stuck with me. Jake doesn't like coming in the house. He only wants to play in the treehouse. An imaginary friend with conditions. I shrugged it off, tried to convince myself it was normal. Some quick research showed that sometimes kids will assign their imaginary friends to certain rooms or spots. But deep down, I couldn't shake it. Christy grew uneasy too. And we both noticed Luke spending more and more time up there. Too much time. No toys, no books, no game consoles, nothing. Just him and Jake. One Saturday, Luke came home with a black eye. When I asked what happened, he avoided my eyes, silent at first. Then, when I pressed, he whispered something that made my skin crawl. I got into a fight with Jake. I didn't know what to say. His imaginary friend? I scolded him for lying, but instead of admitting the truth, Luke broke down sobbing and ran to his room. Christy believed he'd fought with a neighborhood kid and was too ashamed to admit it. But I wasn't so sure. She begged me to tear the treehouse down, right then and there. But I couldn't. That treehouse was my pride. I had spent weeks on it, and tearing it down felt like admitting defeat. So I told her I'd talk to him, set rules, explain that he was taking this imaginary friend business too far. But Luke wouldn't talk to me. Not that night, not the next morning. And then, I decided to see for myself. When I climbed the ladder and stepped inside, the air hit me first, stale, heavy, and then I froze. Scattered across the wooden floor were socks, sneakers, shoes far too small for any adult. All dirty, all worn. None of them belonged to Luke. I knew this for certain. And it wasn't just shoes, food wrappers, empty bags, utensils, even dirty plates. And on the walls, drawings. Dozens of them, scratched in pencil. Animals, a fox, a bear, deer. Some I didn't recognize, but one stood out more than the rest. A spider. A massive, grotesque spider. But instead of a spider's face, it had something smeared over it, like a mask of ink, covering everything. I felt sick. I climbed down immediately and stormed into the house. When I asked Luke about it, his answer chilled me to the core. He said Jake only liked to talk on a full stomach, so Luke brought him snacks. He said the shoes and socks belonged to Jake too, that Jake was forgetful, that he left them behind. That was it. No hesitation. No nervousness. Just matter of fact. From that moment, I forbade Luke from going near the treehouse again. But I knew something was wrong. Something beyond childhood games. One evening, standing at the bedroom window, I saw movement. At first, I thought it was Luke, disobeying me, sneaking out to the treehouse. My anger rose until I looked closer. It wasn't Luke. A boy was climbing down the ladder. Thin, frail, clothes filthy. His skin looked sickly pale, almost gray in the fading light. He moved awkwardly, like he hadn't eaten in days. I froze. Then he darted sprinting into the woods with an inhuman speed. I ran outside, shouting, chased him. But within seconds, he vanished into the trees. Christy called every parent in the neighborhood. Every single kid was accounted for. We called the police. They searched for hours. Nothing. No missing children in the area. Nothing. Except what Luke told them. When the officers asked Luke about Jake, he told them everything. Jake wasn't just an imaginary friend. He claimed to be a magic boy who lived in the woods with his friends. Friends who weren't people. He called them bear, fox, deer, strange names, animal names. And every time Jake visited, he begged Luke to come with him, to leave his family behind and join him in the woods. And when Luke refused, Jake grew angry, made noises Luke couldn't describe. I don't know why Luke never told us sooner. Maybe Jake threatened him. Maybe he was afraid. But one thing was certain. That night was the last time we ever saw him. The police found nothing. No boy, no evidence, no missing reports. Christy is convinced Jake wasn't real. She says he was something else, something darker. A spirit, a trickster, something that had lived in the woods long before us. I don't know. I don't want to believe that. But the thought that there's some half-starved child, some feral boy lurking in those woods is almost worse. Because one thing still haunts me. When I was in that treehouse, those shoes, those socks, there were too many. Far too many for one boy. Now, with the house so quiet, with Luke gone off to college, I find myself looking out the bedroom window again. The treehouse still stands. The woods are darker than ever. And sometimes, just sometimes, when the night is still and the wind dies down, I swear I can hear footsteps on that wooden ladder. If you made it this far, thank you for braving the story with me. What do you think Jake really was? A lonely boy hiding in the woods, or something far more sinister? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe for more chilling tales, and ring the bell so you never miss what lurks in the shadows.